Hey everybody, welcome back to the RDCember, and we're down to the top three, the three best units of Wargame Ragnar's voted by you. And since we're already at number three, kind of fitting that the Alu at three is the third best unit as voted by you. No, of course it is not. Now that we got that obligatory joke out of the way, it's the Maglan. Maglan. Honestly, I can't think of a unit that got hit with a nerf hammer so hard and so many times, and it is still kind of ridiculous, honestly. Obviously, I think it's pretty self-explanatory what they do and why they're so good, right? A Recon squad, elite Recon squad with like fully fledged ATGMs, right? We're not talking about a measly little dragon. I think that's the only other guy that missing the Recon tab on infantry. We're talking about like fully fledged Spike MR. One of the, like ignoring the fact that they're on the Magland, it's one of the best edit gems in the game, right? While it doesn't have the punching power of like a Milan 3 or an RBS 56, it has the insane accuracy and speed, right? Incredibly consistent. Um, and with 21 AP, side shots or one shots up to 7 armor, which for example is a Leclerc or a lower end Leopard 2s. Does a 2A1? I think 2A1 has more than 7, right? But it only the Leopard. No, the 2A1 has 7, the base Leopard only has 5, right? For example, 2A1 even gets one shot to the side with 21 AP. And on top of that, they have a Carbine, which is pretty good, and an IGF, which is a mini clone, which is the best MG, more or less, in the game. And keep in mind, right, the DPS difference between 5-man and 10 HP squads isn't really that noticeable. It only slightly affects the primary weapon, but ignoring, the just raw DPS, assuming they don't get shot back at, they almost have the exact same DPS as, for example, Comer in 95. Now, of course, in a head-on fight with like everything that's equal, right, both in forest, both in the town, or both in the open, Comer will of course win. 15 HP versus 5 HP, huge difference. But if they're defensively in the town, and maybe you've seen a recent video, I think it was in a 2 versus 2 match on Jungle Law, where I was actually assaulting with Core Marinier across the open, and the Maglan squad was in the town. And my Core Marinier got absolutely demolished, right? So in a defensive situation, which is where Maglan are best, they also melt infantry. So unlike normal ATGM squads, right? If they're sitting in a town, for example, one of the small center towns in Highway to Seoul, where there's only one town block, right? If there's a Milan sitting in, you can just walk up with any rifle squad and deal with them. You can't do the same with Macklin. Of course, getting into a situation where you can't just walk up is not, the situation doesn't always present itself. But every now and then you are in a situation where to make sure, town is you got rid of like ATGM squad or something, you just walk up with the rifle squad and make sure it's dealt with, right? You can just walk up with any 10-point rifleman squad, even with a striker squad, right? To make sure, alright, it's clear. Or at the very least force him out. It doesn't work with Magdan. Now, of course, they do have a downside, sort of. They only carry 4 missiles, which is not that many, right? 2 HP squads carry 6 missiles, and 5 HP squads carry 8. However, at the same time, unlike ATGM squads, once they're out of missiles, they're still incredibly useful to have. Besides the fact that, of course, they do melt infantry that are running towards them, they still are a fully functional recon unit. They have the exact same optics as any other recon infantry squad, and they have the same stealth of, regular or other lead squads that aren't 2-man squads. Right? They still have very good stealth. Just like Bedouins, just like Specialni Jednotki, etc., etc. So, for 5 points more, you have half the HP compared to Gru, for example. You have half the HP, of course. You have still very good infantry DPS, but you have that incredible utility and just power, honestly, of Spike MR. If you manage to sneak them around, you don't even have to sneak them across the map, just slightly like along a flank or something, on any of the flanks on highway, for example, right? You can just do so much damage because unlike again Spets and Screw, they have like more than 3 times the range, right? And if you again pi times r squared, the actual area they cover is, of course, huge compared to something like 700-meter RPG 26. And on top of that, they spot for themselves as well, which at your main front line isn't always quite as useful. It's still very useful, don't get me wrong, but especially on flanks, right? Unlike, your Dorban squad or something, you not only can, snipe the AA or something that is sitting somewhere in the bush, you also already spot it for yourself. You have 5 HP unlike 2 HP squads, so a single tank shot won't immediately kill you. Unlike 5 HP ATGM squads, you also have very good stealth because you're a recon unit, and you have 30k mage as well. You're twice as fast, which again, every ATGM squad, except for something like Leichte Schützen or something, which are like the light infantry, the 10 HP squads, you're twice as fast, which again massively improves your survivability. I don't even know why I have the armory tool open. There's really nothing to show. Actually, there is. Regarding the Spike MR, there's actually a small thing which I think never got changed because it received so many nerfs, right? Don't forget, Magline used to be 10 HP, they used to have 5 missiles, and they used to have the quote-unquote normal ATGM stats. What do I mean with this? Their Spike MR actually has a higher noise value than normal spikes. They also were slower in relation. Spikes, Dorbans as well, actually got a small speed nerf in the last patch with South Africa. They used to have a max acceleration of, I think, 1000, so they used to be even faster. Maglan actually, unlike the other spikes, got nerfed a bit because, again, it was so powerful. The other spikes just followed suit in the recent South Africa patch. But they still have a very high max acceleration. And if you just compare this to Milan, it's a fine ATGM, it's okay. It's not particularly fast. It's workable, right? World difference, right? It's just incredibly fast, and the 65% accuracy. It is just such a strong ATGM, and of course, you're not gonna do much to like heavy tanks up front, but that's not what a role really is. Yeah, just incredibly versatile, powerful. That's really all that needs to be said. Now, regarding the votes, it got the most amount of rank 5 votes, and the third highest amount of 1, 3, and 4 votes, which is very funny. If you look, third highest amount of rank 1 vote, and still only got like half the votes of whatever got the most amount of rank 1 votes, right? It's kind of crazy. But 2, 3, and 4 especially very close near the top. And there you go. A slight amount more, a slight amount higher amount of votes than the 84 AN got. But once again, it is a recon unit. As I said last time, recon units in general are just probably a bit too impactful in this game. 84 AN and Magnan, for example, are just the epitome of like recon cancer. But I think if you don't have a strong recon type, you're gonna have a rough time in Wargame and Dragon. Yeah, I think that's really all that needs to be said about Magnan. Like I said, it got nerfed so many times. They also, I don't think I mentioned this, right? They're a prototype, of course. In the first version, they didn't used to be. Not only did they have the 10 HP, 5 spike MRs that were faster and had less noise, they were also non-prototyped. Blue 4 Motorized was just horrendous, right? I think back in the day in 2016, right, I started doing videos in like, I don't know, April or something, 2016. The DLC came out, I believe it was October or September. I think it was October. I even made a short video saying I rage quit rank because, Blue Moto with Magnan is just ridiculous. It's just stupid AF. And they are still ridiculous units and stupid AF. But at least they're contained to Israel, which at least has some weaknesses. It's still a very strong deck, don't get me wrong, but especially in 1 versus 1s, there are certain matchups and maps where you can kind of exploit Israel's weaknesses. Actually, it had 2 units, right? In the top 12, the Kurnas thus far and the Maglan. I don't think any other Israel unit was in there, right? Let me double check. Beacon, Legion, LCR, Tiger, 27M, Kurnas, Erikois, Nighthawk, 84, and Maglan, 2 question marks. Yeah. So you have Sweden, France, East Germany, West Germany, USSR, Israel, Finland, USA, Yugoslavia, Israel. I think Israel is thus far the only nation that appears twice. In a sense, that is sort of balanced. If you think about it, right? Imagine if all the top 12 units were like from 2 or 3 nations. So that is kind of cool, I guess. Um, I think I didn't. Yeah, but of course, then if you consider coalitions, right? For example, Legion 90 and Tiger in the same coalition. So there's that. But yeah, let me know what you think. 2 units left. Next video is gonna be about rank 2. Then the video after that is about honorable mentions, which is all about units that didn't make the top 12 cutoff. There's some surprises in there, honestly, and I gotta talk about them. And I gotta talk about you being stupid and voting stupid units way too high. Like, oh, come on, man. There's some units, and then I'm like, why did you vote for them? Stop it. Get some help. And then, of course, 24th on 25th, the number 1 unit. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye bye. On the 10th day of Christmas, Eugen sent to me 10 Macklin sniping, 9 84s hiding, 8 Nighthawks cheesing, 7 Erikois flanking, 6 Kernus is bombing, 5 Su 27s, or something like that, 4 Tigers spying, 3 LSTRs, 2 Legion 90s, and a Swedish beacon 1C.